Fantasy and gaming go together like peanut butter and chewed jelly. As soon as programmers could make a plumber jump, devs were spicing up their game worlds with fantastical elements like magic mushrooms and talking toads, who are actually also mushrooms. Food references aside, here's 10 upcoming fantasy games you need to be playing in 2023. Number 10. Forspoken.
You will be doing our land a great service by killing her.
With the mixed reception of Final Fantasy XV, the devs at Luminous are looking for redemption with a whole new fantasy adventure. Forspoken's isekai-style story sees regular old New Yorker Frey transported to the fantastical world of Athea. When she arrives, she's met with powerful sorceress foes, magical beasts, and a talking cufflink granting her a whole array of witchy powers. Players will utilize Frey's mix of melee and ranged abilities to fight enemies while mage parkouring across the mountains, valleys, and ruins of this fantasy environment. And we won't have long to wait. Forspoken arrives on PS5 and Windows PC January 24.
And wipe out an entire opposing force in one fell swoop.
Number 9. Redfall. Arcane, masters of the immersive sim, are always looking to infuse a bit more fantasy into the FPS genre. While there were some magical components featured in the previous whale-punk settings of the Dishonored series, with Redfall, they're taking a bite out of a classical fantasy staple, vampires. Players can team up with up to 3 others or solo against hordes of brutal bloodsuckers. Between 4 distinct character classes and a mystery to uncover, the action-packed title delivers a whole new dark fantasy setting to explore. Get to killin' when Redfall drops for the Xbox Series XS and Windows PC sometime this year. Number 8. Star Wars Jedi Survivor. Star Wars, science fiction or fantasy? Well, it's both. And while everyone else is busy arguing it out, we'll be slicing up stormtroopers with our Sword of Light. In Jedi Survivor, the soul-ish Metroidvania-inspired gameplay of the first game returns in the much-anticipated sequel to Fallen Order. Players control Cal Kestis on a journey even more desperate than the last. Utilizing the Jedi Knight's force powers and trusty lightsaber, again, Jedis are basically just battle mages. Cal will fight the Empire, bounty hunters, and maybe even an evil wizard. I mean Sith Lord in this upcoming cross-galaxy adventure. Star Wars Jedi Survivor force jumps onto PlayStation 5, Xbox Series XS, and Windows PC March 17th.
The Jedi is a threat.
Number 7. Baldur's Gate 3.
You're the same as me.
While Larian Studios' new massive fantasy CRPG has spent a long 2 years in early access, the full release of the title finally arrives later this year. Since players have already had some time with Baldur's Gate 3, early reception hints at a promising entry to the series, so long as the narrative delivers. Larian's last outing, Divinity Original Sin 2, was a huge critical success, transporting players to a rich fantasy world with boatloads of D&D inspired gameplay. But between the multitudes of options in turn-based combat and rich role-playing decisions that form the story, BG3 should be no different. There's a lot to look forward to for fantasy lovers when Baldur's Gate 3 fully drops on PC sometime this August.
My, this place is fun.
Number 6. Diablo 4. Now, the next installment in this hit fantasy series would be higher on the list, but Blizzard's recent downfall, exemplified by Diablo Immortal, has players a little trepidatious. That being said, Diablo 4 is still a highly anticipated return to form for the franchise after recent outings saw the once dark fantasy setting of the series infused with a bright colored palette and lighter tone. The classic action RPG gameplay has been fine-tuned across several titles, but it's still been over a decade since a mainline release. Hopefully, Blizzard keeps Immortal as their prime cash cow and delivers a player-friendly experience when Diablo 4 arrives on June 6th for PlayStation and Xbox consoles, as well as Windows PC. Number 5. Hollow Knight Silk Song. Okay, no more teases, Team Cherry. It's been almost 6 years since the indie darling Hollow Knight enchanted players with its genre-defining take on the 2D side-scrolling Metroidvania. Hollow Knight Silk Song is set to arrive later this year and shifts the focus to a familiar bug, the beloved foe-turned-friend, Hornet. The combat sees an overhaul as the needle and thread attacks add spectacle to the otherwise simple but fun gameplay of the previous title. Players control the Princess Protector in a prequel-sequel set before and after the events of the original game, exploring and fighting across the insect-laden fantasy lands of Hollow Nest and beyond. Silk Song is one of the most highly anticipated titles of 2023, so let's cross our tiny bug fingers there's no more delaying its release on basically every gaming platform available. Number 4. Black Myth Wukong. Game Science is a relatively new developer, but their trailer for the upcoming Unreal 5 title overtook the gaming world back in 2020. Black Myth Wukong is based on the 16th century Chinese novel Journey to the West and is set to deliver a AAA-level single-player action game within a rich fantasy world, with some Souls-like influences in the way the combat combines dodges and attacks. The main draw was the characters' many different animal forms with their own distinct mechanics. Who hasn't dreamed of a game where your average-sized protagonist can shrink down into a flying insect and then back into monkey form to smack enemies with a giant staff? Black Myth Wukong is set to release sometime this year for major consoles and PC. Number 3. Hogwarts Legacy.
A world filled with dangers you can't yet imagine. An ancient knowledge.
It doesn't get much more fantastical than the wizarding world of Harry Potter. Hogwarts Legacy is a new direction for an otherwise movie tie-in game-dominated franchise, with an original story and the ability to customize a witch or wizard of your very own. It's a dream come true for any Potterhead to have an immersive role-playing experience set within a year at the Hogwarts School for Witchcraft and Wizardry. Get ready to pass through platform 9 3/4 when the train to Hogwarts Legacy arrives on February 10th for PlayStation and Xbox consoles, Nintendo Switch, and Windows PC. Number 2. Legend of Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom. Another game on this list delayed to calamity and back. This highly anticipated sequel to the 2017's Game of the Year is finally coming out, hopefully. Breath of the Wild revolutionized open-world gaming and introduced a host of imitators when it blessed our Switches, and the 9 Wii U still being played at the time. 6 years ago, Tears of the Kingdom promises brand new mechanics and abilities for players to utilize as they return to the beautiful, magical open world of Hyrule. While Nintendo has been pretty quiet about details, there's really no doubt that this next entry in the long-running franchise will provide countless of hours of fantastical exploration. Don't cry, it's not long before The Legend of Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom arrives on the Switch, May 12th. Number 1. Final Fantasy XVI.
And get to safety.
I'm not going without you.
I'm going to hold
fought the enemy?
I mean, it's there right in the title. The Final Fantasy game to make this list is none other than Final Fantasy XVI. It's been over 6 years since Final Fantasy XV arrived to lukewarm reception. With the next title departing from the sci-fi setting of recent releases, Final Fantasy XVI appears to be both a return to form for the long-running series as well as a new evolution on the core gameplay. Trailers show off jaw-dropping spectacle and a beautiful environment to explore. Square Enix's series is quintessential fantasy, which makes it an easy choice as your number 1 for this list. Final Fantasy XVI releases on PS5 June 22. And just to throw out some honorable mentions for other fantasy titles set to release this year, we have Grand Blue Fantasy Relink, Lord of the Fallen 2, Avatar: Frontiers of Pandora, Lord of the Rings: Return to Moria, Sea of Stars, the full release of Valheim, and Wu Long: Fallen Dynasty. Let us know which fantasy worlds you're looking forward to traveling to down in the comments. This has been 10 upcoming fantasy games you need to be playing in 2023. Have a fantastic day!